probably have noticed my hands doing the twitching as I'm going through here, wrenching the thing. That's one of the conditions, and I'm going to stand up for a minute. That's awesome. Yeah, this is great.
It's really cool.
Well, there's so many things that I could not do around the house because I couldn't concentrate on enough. I have to consciously think about everything I want to do, every body movement, everything I grab, and so forth. It takes a conscious effort. What I have is, it looks like multiple sclerosis, MS. It's actually called Friedreich's Ataxia, and it's a genetic something I was passed on by my parents. I get it from both parents, and it wasn't until about probably 5-6 years ago I got that diagnosis. Originally, my diagnosis was he best fits in the category of hereditary spinal cerebellar degeneration with associated polyneuropathies. And that's more of a description than the diagnosis. In other words, they ruled out everything they knew at the time, because that was back in 1984. Now, the weird part is, how did I end up with Bethesda? Well, at the time I was a pilot in the Navy. I was in Philadelphia Naval Shipyard, and working on the USS Parcel, an aircraft carrier, and it was up on blocks and dried up when I got there. It's kind of weird. You could walk under the ship. Yeah, kind of neat. But I went in for my flight physical. Got through the whole flight physical to the last item. Last thing I do was stand on one foot with my eyes closed for 10 seconds. If I could have done that, I'd have been cleared to fly for another year. Couldn't do it by boots on, boots off, right foot, left foot, didn't matter. Couldn't do it. So I sent me to Bethesda, Maryland for a 1-hour consult, for which I got out 10 days later. Because they poked and prodded and trying to figure out what I had. They figured out a lot of what I didn't have. But my disease has been a gradual progression. You know, at first, it was just things like when I was living in Philadelphia and they have a lot of escalators. And I get this uneasy feeling about getting on and getting off of the escalator. But I could do it. But it just felt off. And the Navy put me out on retirement. I was diagnosed in October of '84 and retired by March of '85. And I was probably a couple of years before I went to a cane. And I used cane mainly because I didn't want people thinking I was drunk, because I kind of weaved as I walked. But then it got to the point where the cane was enough support, so they gave me a Canadian crutch. You've seen those, right? The ones with the cup around so you can hold it. And I used that for quite a while until I twisted my ankle one day really bad, and made the decision to go from the crutch to a walker. Well, once you make that move, there's no going back. And I use the walker probably, but I can still use one if I absolutely have to, but it takes almost all my concentration. If anybody talks to me and turn my head, bam, down. As a matter of fact, the reason that I had to go to a scooter and then to a power chair was in order to be able to keep working, because I had fallen too many times at work. So they said, well, for your safety and our protection, you got to figure out something else or we're going to have to let you go. I still teach part-time down for Augusta Adult Education in their day program. So, but I'm having to adjust. Right now, I'm going to teach my regular schedule through the summer, but come fall, I'm going to cut back some more because one of the other problems I have is fatigue. I get tired easy because it takes me 3 or 4 times as long to do something. Now, I regret that I didn't bring my computer so I could let you guys see it. I can't, my left hand, useless. This hand, I warn my students, I tell them, beware the left hand. It has a mind of its own. If I try to pick up something with the left hand, I may end up throwing it. It's just that bad. Right hand, I can still do a lot, but that has caused shoulder problems because of doing everything with one arm, including typing. So now I type with on-screen keyboards. I use a mouse to do that, but I've also recently gotten a second program that allows me to just type a couple letters. For phrases, I can do whole paragraphs if I wanted to, but phrases I tend to use over and over again. I save them into the program. So if I have something I'm going to say, I know I'm going to use that phrase over and over, you know, maybe 4, 5, 10 words long. I only type the first few letters and it comes up and I press enter or click on it with the mouse and it always makes me look like I'm a good typist again. But, you know, this hand for typing, forget it. The only thing really this hand's good for is holding on to things to keep myself from falling. You know, it's pretty strong, but it has no coordination at all. And also, as the day goes on, my speech starts to slur more and more, or if I'm tired. It's not unusual for, I tell my students if I say something and you don't understand it, I do not get offended if you ask me to repeat it. So I will have, you know, and I work with my students, I can still write a little bit, but it has to be really big. So I have a legal pad when I work one-on-one with the students, and we, you know, I'm explaining what I'm doing, and then most of them take my paper back and recopy it too. Well, it's so fresh in their mind of what I wrote. But one of the other problems I have to be very careful. And I love my coffee. You see my coffee cup down there. He told me he didn't have a coffee cup holder. I found one. And actually, that particular cup, you could take it, turn it upside down. Nothing will come out of it. Wow. Yeah. The only problem I've had was I broke on 2 handles. One, because my other daughter put up on her own rail and this mechanism just kind of guillotined it. Just came down and chopped it off. And the other one it fell off the table and just hit just right. So it broke the handle off. But I have to, when I swallow, I have to tip my head down because the muscles in my throat are no longer controlled as well as they used to be. So if I take liquids in and don't tip my head down, it'll go down my windpipe. Now, I don't have a problem with things like, you know, solid foods or even applesauce and stuff like that. I can get those down, but if it's liquid, I have to be careful. What else?
About your adaptive equipment.
Oh, well, some of the best adaptive equipment, of course, the chair, but also Vanessa found for me because I kept my eating. I'm not a person you want to sit next to when eating because things tend to go here, there, and everywhere. So when I eat in public, I always make sure I get something I can either scoop or stab. Now I can do soup if I use the straw to get all the broth out first, and then use a spoon. Now Vanessa found for me these special forks and spoons that are bendable, because when I bring a regular spoon or fork up to my face, it's at the wrong angle for me. So we bend them so that when I come up, it's level with me. And the fork is bent like this, so I take it in this way if you have to use something. And not that I still won't make a mess occasionally, but...
And they are weighted.
Yeah.
They're weighted.
Yeah, they're weighted. They're not real heavy, though. No. Because I did have some from the VA originally. They were so heavy, I couldn't control them. Because I have what are called action tremors, or sometimes called intention tremors. I can hold my hand out here all day long, and it's not moving much, okay? But when I go to do something, the closer I get to my target, for example, if I try to get my nose, okay, that was my good hand. And you can see, the closer I get to my target, the more I shake. So sometimes I have to kind of trick it. I'll just say, okay, I need this thing. I know where it is, and I'll reach up, but not look. So my eyes are not giving that extra feedback. I'm just relying on my memory to know where it was. So it's, you know, it's a challenge, and it's just progressed over the years. And this year, I will be half my lifetime I've been dealing with this. It'll be 31 years this fall. So it is something. But one of the things that I found is just keep trying until something is too dangerous to do. You know, I used my walker for as long as I could until that became dangerous. I moved to a scooter. By the way, scooters are not the most stable things either. They tend to tip real easy because they're narrow. I don't know whether anybody here watched the old Rowan and Martin routine, where they had the tricycle, and he would be pedaling tricycle and he'd go. Yeah, that's what the scooter does. It tends to just go like that. When I open up for questions,